So, the sort of things we've been chatting about this morning, the things like endocrine dysfunction, kids. I really feel sorry for both parents and teachers these days with what's going on with kids. It's harder to have children with really good behaviour these days.
Diet's got a lot to do with it.
Diet has a huge amount to do with it.
And both parents having to work.
Oh, it is a real challenge. So, because I've got a lot of clients who are teachers who come and see me, and they sort of are frustrated that parents that don't put more kids onto Ritalin and dexamphetamines and all sorts of drugs that help to calm kids down during the day.
A lot of it's unnecessary.
But of course, the parents are terrified of putting the kids on the drugs.
Well,
so there's a lot of, like, I've had clients in the past who know that the drugs have actually done no good for their kids, but the teachers will still want to push the fact that, well, they should be on drugs.
Well,
because
with certain drugs, it can bring about suicidal tendencies. That's the frightening thing.
Well, that was with that horrible tragedy in America in the last 24 hours. My first thought was, I wondered whether this kid had been... No, he wasn't. No, he actually ended up being a white supremacist. So, whole different issue there.
Yet he sent out signals on
he did.
Social media.
Absolutely,
and
he did.
No one tweaked to it.
No, which is nuts.
And Donald Trump says, it was a mental health issue. Well, Donald, it is a mental health issue, but you've got to link it with the free availability of weapons.
Absolutely.
They're tied together.
So I think, like one of the things that we do when we're working with kids with behavioural issues, we sort of look at their diet. If the parents are up to it, we do an OligoScan and actually check out things like heavy metals. So you might know that things like ADHD is linked in with mercury or aluminium in the brain. Things like autism is a bit harder, but there's often heavy metals linked. There's often gut dysfunction. There's huge allergies linked in with autism and the Asperger's spectrum. And there's a massive comorbidity with these kids with anxiety and depression. So their brain isn't working as optimally as they could. The anxiety goes through the roof whenever the parents or teachers haven't given them enough warning that something's changing or they're going somewhere. So I know these parents are just beside themselves trying to keep a normal day-to-day activity and routine going on.
I know mums probably will always have it a lot harder than blokes, but I know they have to go to work today. But how many mums, I know they're tired at the end of a working day, the kids at home demanding, husbands coming home. How many mums, and they've got to be honest with themselves, prepare a good home-cooked meal in a week? Was it twice a week or was it 5 days a week?
Yeah.
Should at least be 6 days a week, to be quite honest.
And if these kids have something neurologically going on, they need the best food possible. They really do. There's been a lot of research in things like the ketogenic diet for these kids, which is around 70% fat and protein in the diet. So you can imagine it's keeping sugars and carbs to a minimum. So you're taking the processed, the ultra-processed foods out of their diet to the certain extent, and it's really getting to know what you can do.
And it's basic.
It really is. It's working out that the kids do better in a day if they have, say, beef jerky as snacks and, things like that, rather than having, sugary, muesli bars and
soft
something.
Drink, a milkshake, hamburgers, pizzas.
Like, I knew nothing when my kids. I was young when my kids started to go to school, and we would, initially you think you're doing them a favour by buying the boxes of muesli bars and the boxes of this and the boxes of that, and once you actually start having a look at the amount of sugar in there and the amount of processed, once again, how many of the ingredients do you not even recognise? Because there's additives in there. So these kids, their brains, and once again, I know I'm generalising, but these kids are often very sensitive preservatives and additives and colourings and things like that. Colourings is massive. How many kids respond badly to the reds and the blues and the yellows and the greens? They have those lollipops out, not lollipops, the ice blocks out of the freezer because it makes them giggle like crazy. Which is lovely to see them giggling. But, there might be a funny little reaction going on that's making them do that. So we do testing is down the track with these kids at New Leaf, but certainly anything that helps them to calm down their diet. And it's finding things that they like to eat. It's one thing to say to the parents, look, cut out all the sugar and bread and, wheat and dairy out of their diet, but you've got to give them other options.
Well, you've got to say to the mums and dads, look, if you are concerned, if you notice that your little child, 5 years of age, 6 years of age, is just a little over the top and misbehaving, why don't you drop in and see Madonna or the team there at 94 Edith Street, Wynnum, New Leaf Natural Therapies, because you can do the testing.
No, that's right. And then with the kinesiology follow-up, there's actually a couple of videos on YouTube now on the New Leaf Health Team channel, and there's a few videos that actually show me doing LEAP. LEAP is a learning enhancement acupressure program. So and I talk through what I'm doing, and they're like they're anywhere from say 10 to 20 minutes long, these little videos, and it's just worth a look if you're looking for something different, because sometimes parents just don't know where to go, or grandparents don't know where to go.
And a lot of the time, I dare say, I'm not a medico, I'm far from, but drugs are not the answer.
Not always, no, and that's why I did wonder with this shooting in America, because most of the mass shootings are linked in with psychotropic drugs.
Yep.
They nearly always come out after the fact and say, well, he was on medications for depression, anxiety, schizophrenia.
You'll never stop evil people getting hold of guns.
No, you won't.
Never.
No, you won't.
Criminals getting hold of guns, it's easy, but you certainly can reduce the availability, the easy access. Fancy going to Kmart and buying a semi-automatic and giving it to your son or daughter as a 16-year-old birthday present.
Thank God for Australia. I love
We're not
Australia.
a perfect society,
no,
but
we're not.
Thank God for the laws. I think it was John Howard introduced.
Yeah.
Yep. And
I think so many countries around the world look at Australia and think, I wish we could, have the guts to do that.
Well, touch wood, it never happens again here.
Yeah.
Madonna, lovely chatting.
Nice to chat.
You'll be back next Friday.
I'll be here.
Let's hope it's you're dressed nice and coolly today. I see. A bit like who was the actress? Oh, the blonde who died.
No, you're not talking Marilyn.
No, I knew who it was. I wanted you to guess. Yes, it's a dress, folks, just like Marilyn.
Oh.
All right, we'll see you next Friday.
Excellent. See you then,
Lovely
Roger.
chatting.
Bye-bye.